We've already told you about that high-stakes meeting between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, which is set for this Friday. But now, before that meeting happens, European leaders, along with Ukraine's president, want to speak with President Trump. They are concerned about potential land swaps. Ukraine has been adamant about not giving up any of its territory, and Putin isn't about to give up the land Russia currently holds. This group releasing a statement saying that the path to peace cannot be decided without Ukraine, and that Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine has wider implications for European and international security. NewsNation's Robert Sherman is live for us in Kyiv, Ukraine, with more. So, Robert, what are you learning?
Well, Nichole, as this all starts to head and move towards Friday here, you can take a look at the optics at the frontline level, which is that the Ukrainians are not going to be invited to Alaska, but neither are the Europeans. They will be on quite literally the other side of the planet as this summit is taking place, and they feel as though that some of their concerns should be brought into consideration as well. That's why you have these European leaders who are hoping to have a conversation with the Ukrainians and the Americans to get on the same page ahead of Friday. But this is going to be a one-on-one sit-down between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, where the president says this is all a reconnaissance mission in order to determine if Russian President Vladimir Putin is serious or not. He says he believes that he'll know within 2 minutes if that is the case. And if all goes according to plan, well, then a bilateral, eventually, the goal is, will be a trilateral to get Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and President Trump all in the same room at a later date in order to seal the deal and bring some kind of a peace deal home. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky writing this on X today reads, quote, "Indeed, we all support President Trump's determination, and together we must shape positions that will not allow Russia to deceive the world once again. We see that the Russian army is not preparing to end the war. On the contrary, they are making movements that indicate preparations for new offensive operations." What we have seen on the ground here in the last couple of days in Ukraine has been an intensification of the strikes carried out by Russia. Ukrainian officials expect that is going to continue to beef up until Friday, and possibly in the immediate aftermath of that Friday summit, they could see an escalation from the Russian side. That is their big concern, believing that Russia will attempt to make a play to secure more territory and bolster their negotiating position as these conversations carry on. Nichole.
Robert, and let's talk about location here. This won't be the first time an American president has met with key world leaders in Alaska. What is the significance of Alaska as a meeting place?
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, Alaska, well out of the way compared to the lower 48 states, but we have seen this play out in the past. If you go back to the 1980s, Ronald Reagan met with Pope John Paul II in Alaska. If you go back to the 1970s, Richard Nixon, well, he met with at the time, the Emperor of Japan. And so you have seen some of these meetings that have been taking place in Alaska. One corollary that you've seen between them actually been taking place in airports. We don't have any specific details yet on exactly how this is going to go on Friday, but consider the optics of all this for a moment. You mentioned the fact that European leaders feel as though that they are being boxed out of some of these conversations here. There were rumblings that maybe this bilateral would be held in Rome or Switzerland or somewhere in the Middle East, somewhere not far from Europe. Instead, this is taking place on the other side of the planet and the final frontier point between the United States and Russia. This is certainly away from European eyes, away from European ears, and it is quite literally the United States and Russia all alone in these conversations here. Nichole.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.